Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea, rounding up the latest Chelsea news on a regular basis. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe on this Easter Monday, enjoying your bank holiday. For some reason it's now snowing in London. It's April, it's the UK, this is what English weather's like. I don't know what the weather's like where you currently are, but hope you've recovered from Saturday's awful performance and defeat. Let's hope Chelsea can make amends on Wednesday against Porto. Going to have my preview for that game tomorrow. It's a massive game. It really is for Chelsea. And I just hope it is a freakish game and, a freakish day for Chelsea recently. I really hope that the team can respond. We'll get into some of the reaction because it has been interesting. Antonio Rudiger, Kepa, Arrizabalaga, reports of them having a bust up in training. And then also Simon Johnson did a really in-depth piece going into the reaction post the defeat. Thomas Tuchel speaking to the players yesterday, a debrief of what was a horror show on Saturday. Also negative of Christian Pulisic being injured once again. I think the future of Pulisic is something we have to discuss because it's another injury for a player who consistently is picking up injuries. Now it's such a big part of his Chelsea career so far, and I think that it is a massive concern in terms of where we go from here with Christian Pulisic, because he may not play again this season, especially if these injury problems with the hamstring continue. And finally, the future of Olivier Giroud could be going to Roma in the summer, and that whole striker situation once again. Before we get into any of that good stuff, I want to ask you guys on this Monday, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit the like button if you're enjoying the content because it helps out the channel as well. So firstly, Matt Law reporting yesterday, exclusive: Antonio Rudiger dismissed from Chelsea training early after Kepa Arrizabalaga bust up. This is what was reported. Thomas Tuchel sent Antonio Rudiger in early from training on Sunday after the defender was involved in a bust up with Kepa less than 24 hours after the Chelsea head coach had warned his players not to lose their heads in the wake of the 5-2 defeat by West Bromwich Albion. Tempers boiled over in training on Easter Sunday as Kepa and Rudiger were involved in a heated argument that resulted in a pushing match between the pair before Tuchel sent the German into the changing room 5 minutes before the end of the session to calm down. Sources claim the argument was sparked in a small-sided game in which defender Rudiger went in late on Kepa, who reacted, and the heated argument quickly escalated into pushes being exchanged. Then I go into this athletic piece that was released today by Simon Johnson inside Tuchel's debrief of Chelsea's horror show against West Brom and the scuffle that followed, a heavy defeat, an upset dressing room and an altercation between Antonio Rudiger and Kepa Arrizabalaga. Now we will get to see how good Thomas Tuchel really is. Goes into sort of the debrief and how Tuchel was really, of course, irritated by his players' performances, really breaking down the game defensively, some of the goals we conceded in that second half. And of course, there have been altercations. Apparently, there were fierce words in the dressing room after the game between Reece James and Dave, and social media being just ridiculous, where people were getting annoyed at Simon Johnson and Matt Law for reporting Chelsea news because that's their job. I just don't understand why people seem to get annoyed at journalists for reporting all types of news surrounding Chelsea, whether it's positive or negative. How can anyone be surprised that there was going to be negative fallout to what was a negative day for Chelsea Football Club? It was an embarrassing performance. So I'd be a little bit stunned, actually more concerned, if there wasn't angry words being shared between players, because that performance was so bad, and there needs to be honesty. And I don't think that reporters should be getting abuse or getting slandered because they report news. That's their job. So that's a non-starter for me. Second part of this is, it's good to see there is passion inside the dressing room. Interesting, Kepa and Rudiger, two players who didn't feature on Saturday. In particular, Kepa, who's been, basically an outcast this season. At times has been reintegrated into the squad for certain cup games, but, really hasn't been the main goalkeeper behind Edouard Mendy. Rudiger, on the other hand, of course, there was all reports back in January. He's asserted himself so well under Thomas Tuchel. So, for me, the character he's shown, the performance level, he's been exemplary. I think we missed him on Saturday, and I think he'll be back against Porto on Wednesday. So I don't think we can have any sort of anger at Antonio Rudiger currently. It's just sort of what happens, and has been reported by Simon Johnson that these things happen on a regular basis at training grounds. It's quite rare when these things do get leaked, but they have been leaked post the West Brom defeat. So of course, there's going to be more spotlight on it. I just think there needs to be a positive reaction to this now, and I think that players need to show the right mentality, which is something I brought up on Saturday. I think it's a discarded word, unfortunately, in modern football because it's been overused, but I think we need to see now that I want to see the players prove that the 14 game period, the unbeaten run with so many good results in there, wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't the same old story of Chelsea starting well under a new manager and then it all basically goes awry when we have one bad defeat. We've seen this before with previous managers. I think it's now on the players to prove that wasn't a fluke, that wasn't just a honeymoon period. This needs to be a sustained period of improvement, and I think that we'll have to see this, and they've got a chance to do it on Wednesday. How Tuchel addresses this now, because it's a big thing for him, learning about his squad in a new way, in the way of them losing so badly and how they respond. And I think, you always learn more after the defeat than you do after a win, and I think that will be the key thing now for Tuchel to really reintegrate his ideas, get this team working well, because there's no messing around. We're not in October or December even, or even January when it was going wrong for Frank Lampard. We're in the business end of the season, so there's no messing around now for Chelsea in the Champions League, predominantly in the top 4 race for the Premier League, because that's so key, but also the FA Cup. So we'll see how they respond. Let me know your opinions on this whole situation. Kepa and Rudiger having a fight, let me know in the comments below. Secondly, more fallout from, of course, Saturday's defeat, Christian Pulisic being injured. We didn't find this out till after the game. I think I even said in my review that I was a little bit concerned and just frustrated that Pulisic was taken off at half time, because I felt he was one of Chelsea's better offensive players in the first half. Pulisic, of course, scored the opening goal, but we found out post the game a couple of hours later through this tweet from Andrew Joseph, originally from NBC in America. Their coverage had footage of what happened with Pulisic's sub at half time. He ran 10 yards to a cone, complained about his hamstring, and Tuchel did not look happy about it, so he came off. And then the club released officially yesterday a Christian Pulisic injury update, which said that Thomas Tuchel confirmed that hamstring injury forced the half-time withdrawal of Christian Pulisic against West Brom. This is what he had to say. Christian did a sprint when he came back out for the second half and said that he felt his hamstring would not survive the game if he continued. So another injury for Christian Pulisic. I think something else that Tuchel said, we're not quite sure how long he'll be out for. I mean, I'm even of a mind, and I spoke about with Jay McIntosh on my pod every other Sunday. You can go and listen to the full episode now, link in the description box below. We spoke about Pulisic, and he may not play again this season, and there could be an idea to just not play him again this season, given how long there is, just giving him a rest maybe till pre-season, to really recover, because it's a concern. I've seen people bring up the idea that he isn't, physically, he hasn't really bulked up, like say someone like Eden Hazard and Willian did. That durability, someone who's fouled consistently, that probably isn't helping him in terms of recovering from injuries, dealing with the wear and tear of the Premier League that Eden Hazard did so wonderfully during his Chelsea career, and being a similar type of player who is going to attract attention from opposition. That's just clear. And if he keeps on getting injuries, he's just going to derail his Chelsea career in what is such a competitive squad. Pulisic has struggled to get Premier League starts under Thomas Tuchel. He hasn't been a guaranteed starter. It was actually still a little bit of a surprise that he started the game yesterday ahead of some others. So I think that was such a big opportunity for him. He scores the goal, which is a big moment for him personally, and then he gets injured and he isn't able to play the rest of the game. You can't trust a player who does that, and it's something I have brought up before. As good as Christian Pulisic has been for Chelsea, as good as he was last season, he was electric. He really was. I don't think people should underestimate that. He was just exhilarating. He was one of the best players I saw last season. Just in terms of that run of form was just extraordinary. And we saw again his anticipation to be in the right place at the right time. For a winger, I think that's really impressive. Pulisic seems to find himself just in the right place in the box, which I think is what this Chelsea team lacks a lot of the time. But for his own sake, for Chelsea, can you rely on a £60 million player who is constantly being injured? And there is that concern I've brought up before, that do you want to prematurely let Christian Pulisic go and then he turns into one of those players once again? We have heard all those rumours about him leaving this summer put to bed. I just think for his own sake, it may be the best thing, as frustrating as it is for him, and I'm sure as well for the club, to not have him for the rest of the season. If for his own sake, his own fitness, if he could have just the rest of the season off basically to recover, recuperate, come back for pre-season and get going again, really bulk up in the gym as well too, to really stop these injuries, because they are so persistent and they keep on derailing what should have been a better season for Christian Pulisic. And it's a tale of many players, many talented players, injuries just derailed their career. I really hope that isn't the case for Christian Pulisic. Let me know your opinions on this Pulisic injury, the future of Pulisic, his injury problems. Let me know in the comments below. And finally, I wanted to pick up on this story that was reported from Gazzetta in Italy, but also from Sport witnessed. Olivier Giroud apparently will not renew his Chelsea contract this summer. His reps met with Roma general manager Thiago Pinto 2 days ago. So Giroud, it does feel more and more likely he will be leaving in the summer. It's not like last year where he really came into the team and became a key player once again under Frank Lampard and really saved Chelsea season. You know, he was such a key part of us getting Champions League football. We felt that maybe a similar thing could happen when he scored that amazing goal against Atletico Madrid. And you never know, he could feature against Porto on Wednesday, and we know what Giroud's like. He's such an amazing player to step up at the right moment for Chelsea. He's been one of our best signings in recent seasons. I just feel that because of his age, because of the fact Chelsea are going to be going out there lightly and spending even more on another striker with the current attackers we've invested in recently, the fact that under Tuchel so far, he's looked the most out of place he has ever looked at Chelsea in the system. Someone like Kai Havertz seems a lot more comfortable in Tuchel's system so far, and Giroud looks a lot more out of place. So I think he may be looking to go elsewhere to get better football. I think somewhere like Serie A would be perfect, maybe going back to France. We're not entirely sure. I do think it's more and more likely now that Olivier Giroud, despite being a really good player, someone that has given Chelsea so much and has been such a brilliant signing. Do you think Chelsea should be keeping Olivier Giroud for next season? Let me know in the comments below. But that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. I'll be back again tomorrow for more videos regarding the Porto preview and some more Chelsea news. So I'll see you again.